Hello, we are group 8 and we are going to present the topic of plants and our 5 senses. My name is MURATKYZY Aruna and here is our agenda. We are going to start from taste and smell, we will continue with sight and finish our presentation with hearing and touch. Let's first look at the anatomy of taste and smell sensations. Although taste and smell feature separate senses with their own separate organs, with their own receptors, they are nonetheless connected. Taste buds on the tongue identify taste, and nerves in the nose identify smell. Both sensations are communicated in our brain, which integrates the information so that the flavors can be recognized and appreciated. Some tastes, such as salty, bitter, sweet, sour, and umami, have their own separate receptors, and that's why they can be recognized without sense of smell. However, more complex flavors, such as raspberry, for example, require both taste and smell sensations to be recognized. Plant diversity has an overwhelming number of different textures, and only some of them will be discussed in this presentation. So, as I said, the plant kingdom is vast and there are a huge number of tastes and order which can be found in there. Let's start from conifers in the first column of this presentation. They have specific order due to the small terpenes inside of them. These chemicals provide such a fresh and pleasant odor which can be recognized in those forests full of fir trees. It should be noted that despite the sharp smell they have, they do not feature any distinguishable taste. The taste and smell in angiosperms in the second column vary according to their reproductive and survival needs, which can be discussed in details in the next slides. And finally, bryophytes produce glycerin, which gives them such a fresh smell in the areas full of them. Now, bitterness has the simplest relationship with our food intake. What is bitter is bad, and what tastes bad is not eaten. The following are the common poisonous plants in this table. For example, castor beans, they have ricin, which is the compound that causes red blood cells to clump together. Turnips, for example, and spinach, they possess progoitrin, which inhibits steroid hormones. Cassava featured cyanide, which interrupts the ability of our cells to make ATP by binding to the oxidase in mitochondria. And soybeans contain saponin, which is poorly absorbed due to the body, but when present in bloodstream causes red cells to burst. All these chemicals are bitter. And here you can see the structure of some of them. And these compounds bind to receptor in our tongue, causes the bitter taste, and also they bind to the receptors in our body, causing their poisonous effect. Next. We are going to talk about sweet taste. These are pleasing for our plate and provide nourishment, both of which encourage their consumption. These adaptations in plant were made for successful migration. For instance, in history, the first people to live on Earth were collecting the food and carrying the parts of the plants like fruits and roots away from their sources. After consumption, those non-edible parts were left as a remnant, and in case of favorable conditions, would colonize the land. And in such a way, sweet fruits are one way of spreading across the land. Sweet odor, as Angel's trumpet presented in here, also contributes to successful spreading and colonization of new habitats. On the other hand, sweet odors and tastes present pleasant feelings to humans, increasing the level of our serotonin in the central nervous system. Next, tastes are manifested because of their origin or environment in which the plants are found. For example, seedless vascular plants, Equisetum arvens, tend to be salty because of their adaptations and they accumulate salt important for the proper osmotic balance in the moist environment. Similarly, sour taste in plants is usually found among those species which are capable of self-defense and produce plant acids, which are the very source of that specific taste. Interestingly, spicy taste and sharp odor is the result of acquiring defense mechanisms too. In peppers, the chemical named capsaicin is responsible for such traits of the plant. It is believed that such characteristic was evolved for deterring animals from eating them. Actually, the sense of in humans can distinguish far more types of tastes and odors. The presented ones are just interesting example for the common ones. And this is the end for my presentation, and I'm going to pass to my group mate.
Okay, hello, I'm Liu Yitong, and I will take for the side part, and then let's start. And we can first think about the question, how do the plants can affect our vision? Okay, next. Here I give you some wonderful pictures of different plants. It is easily to find that even in one plant, it can show different colors and tissues at the different parts of its body. However, all of these characteristics we can find are based on the vision we have, so it is important for us to know what is the principle behind them. And the first thing I would like to talk about is the structure of our eyeball, which I think is the basis of our sense of sight. Last. Okay. And the second thing I will talk about some details about the retina, which is one of the most important tissues used for vision, and it is located in our eyeball. And after that, we will focus on another question. How does the information such as different wavelengths of light received by our eyes can translate into vision in our brains? And then we will combine our vision parts with the plants. Okay, next. Here is a picture about the structure of our eyeballs. You can find that at the back of the eyeball there is a point where the optic nerves accumulates and passes out at this point. And as we know, the main functions of the structure such as the cornea and lens is to refract light, meaning that they do not actually play a major role in transporting or translating the light information. Well, nerves, especially the endings of these optic nerves, can respond for this. But at this point, we can see that there is no ending, so we call this the blind point, which means it is blind. And besides, it can be found that the eyeball can be divided into several layers, and retina is also one of its layers, and I think it may be the most important one. We can see that the retina also have many layers, and actually it is composed of 5 major cell types that are arranged in 3 cellular layers, which are separated by 2 synaptic layers. And what's more, the thickness of the retina is not uniform. It has one thickness point we call the fovea, and you can find it on the picture. And this point is used to distinguish the colors. However, our humans only have 3 types of rows in the fovea area, and each row can only distinguish one color. So this means we can only see 3 colors, the red, blue, and the green. And all the other colors we can see in our daily life are consist of these 3 colors. Okay, now we can talk about the other question about the maker of the color. The plants produce and use pigments through its life course, and these pigments are vital to their survival. For example, the chlorophyll, and which belongs to the porphyrin. And the plant's pigments can be roughly divided into 3 types: the porphyrin, the carotenoid, and the anthocyanin. And the first one, the porphyrin, actually is the source of the color green the plants can show out. Besides, when the season's changing, we may find that the leaves can also change their colors, and that is due to the carotenoid. And the last type is more commonly found in the flowers or some fruits, but these pigments may not be found in only one tissues, or in other words, to put it simply, each tissues of the plants can contain different types of these pigments, and all of them can contribute to the plant's colors. And now I will pass my time to my teammate.
I am Hiu Yan, and I will talk about the part about hearing and touch. First is the hearing part. And hearing is a very important sense for human. And it, Actually, the frequency of sound we can hear have a limited range. It is about 20 to 20,000, and the most sensitive range is only 2,000 to 5,000 hertz only. And the hearing range will be narrowed due to the aging and other factor. And many sound of the nature we cannot be heard by human. And the sound of plant is one of the nature sound we cannot hear. And there are research, some people may think that plants do not have their own sound, but research show that sound do produce their own sound. And their research show that the corn seedlings, the root of corn seedlings lead towards the 220 hertz fruit, and the roots emit clicks of a similar tune. And the feces bubble bursts in the xylem of the plant are ultrasonic. It's about 300 kilohertz, and it can only detect by insect and some other animal, but not human. And actually, plants also communicate with sound. Um, some researchers set an experiment about the communication about between animal between plant, and it is studied the communication between the nutty sweet fennel and the chili plant. The nutty sweet fennel actually release chemical that can slow down other plant growth. And in the experiment, they put the young chili plant in a box that only transmits sound but not other substance, like the chemicals and other surrounding insect. So after experiment, they realized that the chili seedling have grown faster with a fennel plant nearby. That means that the fennel plant do have the effect to the chili by sound, so they can communicate with sound. And then the next part is about the sense of touch with plant. And the sense of touch of human is provided by the skin receptor. And the skin, including the mechanoreceptor, thermoreceptor, pain receptor, and proprioceptor. It allowed humans to feel the touch, pressure, vibration, and temperature and pain. And actually, how we distinguish the plastic thick plants with the real plant is touch it. The touch of the real plant is a bit cool, so you can distinguish it easily. The cooling effect of the plant is actually the cooling effect of the plant by transpiration is actually very minor, and this is because the area of the stomata of a plant is more relatively to the total surface area. And why it will make us feel cool when we touch the plant? This is because of the spongy layer of the leaf. The spongy layer of the leaf contains many water, and water is a substance with high capacity, and it require more heat to increase the temperature. So when we touch the plant, more heat transfer from our finger to the leaf, and it absorb more plants, but increase less temperature. So we may feel cold when we touch the plant. That's why we have a cool feeling when we touch the plant. That's the end.
Okay, and here we have reference list used for this presentation. And thank you for your attention.